Data Gruber. Lead us not into miscommunication. Lead us not into miscommunication. Data Gruber.
What if smartphones actually lived up to their implied promise and made people smarter? This is a thought that was going through my head the other day as I sat in a darkened room with my wife trying to watch a movie. If you had been sitting with us, you would have seen these little flashes of bluish white light throughout the theater. Now my first thought was, okay, better late than never, at least they're finally turning those cell phones off. But then, those little blue fireflies kept reappearing in the same places, and I realized, oh my goodness, those people have just spent $8.25 to sit in a darkened room for an hour and a half so they could check their messages. And then the greater irony hit me. The next day at work, many of those same people will be watching movies on those same smartphones. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as my wife and I were debriefing after trying to watch this movie, we had a discussion about communication and communication devices and what it all meant. At one point, she looked at me and said, you know, I don't know if these fancy communication devices really help us communicate any better. And that immediately took me back to something my mother used to say. Duh, she used to say, if you can't be smart, at least marry smart. Good thing I did, huh? Have you ever been with a small group of people, say you're out to dinner, or you're having fun, you're at a party, whatever you're doing, and every 5 minutes somebody's pulling out their smartphone and saying, okay, I got this message, and they're putting it away. Now, is it just me, or does that drive anybody else crazy? But maybe I'm being too hard on these people. Maybe I need to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they have the attention span of gerbils. Or maybe those messages really are important. For example, maybe it's the spouse texting in, honey, where are the car keys? Or maybe it's little Timmy who needs to get picked up from soccer practice. Or maybe it's an emergency from work, like they ran out of pizza dough again. That was me. These days, in many families, kids get their first cell phone when they are ready to walk. So what's next? Cell phones for pets? Can you imagine being over at the Cairo household? You're sitting down having dinner and you hear this ring, 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 ring. Bill, is that your cell phone? No, that's Fluffy's. You think I'm being silly, don't you, Chris? Exhibit A. Pets mobility. These are cell phone collars for pets. I am not making this up. Industry-leading GPS technology with the ability of two-way communication, yada, yada, yada. Cell phones for pets. So, if little Fluffy is out late, past dinner time, you just call her up and say, Fluffy, time to come home. And then Fluffy will be thinking, yeah, right. Now, as far as I know, they don't yet have email for pets. Currently, that is specifically for humans, and I use the term loosely. The Federal Communication Commission estimates that over 180 billion emails are sent every day. And on each one of those days, at least half of those emails wind up in my inbox. Who hates spam? Oh, yeah. Back in the old days, spam meant every month you get a nice, colorful letter from Publishers Clearinghouse saying you just won something, and would you like to order a few magazine subscriptions while you're waiting to find out what you won? Now, thanks to email, I win 4 or 5 sweepstakes every single day. But I didn't even enter them. Now, I haven't collected any money from these sweepstakes, but I've heard these things take time. And speaking of time, what happened to all the time that was promised by the advertisements for this cute little smartphone? I'm still waiting for that. True story. In Fresno, California, where Fresno happens to be, a lady walked in to an AT&T store and she bought a smartphone. She took it home. She came back 2 days later, put it down on the counter and said, "I want my money back." The man looked at her and said, "Oh, okay, was there something wrong with it?" She said, "Yes." He said, "What was wrong with it?" She said, "I've had that cell phone for 2 days and it hasn't made me one bit smarter." I seriously doubt that that clerk argued with her. And how dependent have we become on this amazing communication technology? The other week, my internet, by the grace of Quest, had been down more over a 3-week period than it was up. So I couldn't check my Facebook, I couldn't check my Twitter, I couldn't check my email. So what did I do? I called them to find out what was going on. And what did they do? They put me on hold. The hold music was an old song by the Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want. They were rubbing it in. I'd love to stay and chat with you more, but I have to go check my PayPal account. You see, I have been selected by a true Nigerian prince to receive $5 million into my PayPal account. I get to keep $1 million of that. The best part? He's going to throw in a brand new smartphone as part of the deal. Yes! Mr. Toaster.
Mr. Timer, may we have 1 minute for the